All right, fantasy managers, get ready to dive deep because we're talking double game week 24 strategy. That's right, DGW24 for all you veterans out there. This is a week where you can make a huge jump up the standings, but you can also fall flat on your face if you're not careful. We've got everything you need to know to maximize your points.
With these double game weeks, you're always trying to find the balance. Yeah, so many points up for grabs. But it can backfire if you're not careful.
Okay, let's break this down then. We've got two teams playing twice this week, Liverpool and Everton. Both have a pretty nice first matchup. Liverpool against Bournemouth, and then Everton against Leicester. But then they play each other in that midweek Merseyside derby.
Yeah, that derby, it throws a real wrench into things. Form can go right out the window in these types of matches. Makes it tough to predict what will happen.
So we need to think about more than just their form and who they're playing, right?
Absolutely. Got to factor in rivalries like this.
Okay, so let's start with Liverpool. I feel like every week we ask this question. Is this the week to triple captain Mo Salah? He's so consistent, but can you really ever be certain with a chip like that?
Yeah, you got to look past just the points potential. I mean, yeah, he's averaging like 10 points a match over his last 5, which is incredible. And Bournemouth have been pretty bad defensively, so that all points to a big haul from Salah. But, and this is important, there's a chance he'll get rested in one of the matches, especially if Liverpool are already winning comfortably in one of them.
So it's not just can Salah get us points, it's will he even play both matches?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
You'd be putting all your eggs in one basket, hoping he starts twice, A&D, that he performs well.
Definitely a tough decision. So aside from Salah, I've seen some people thinking about using their assistant manager chip on Liverpool manager Arne Slot.
So the thinking there is that you get to triple up on Liverpool players, and you can really take advantage of the double game week. But the thing with the assistant manager chip is, well, you only get 3 players from that team for the whole week.
Ah, so you really lose all your flexibility.
Exactly.
So you're giving up depth for the chance at big points. If you had to pick 3 Liverpool players, though, assuming we're not triple captaining Salah, who would you go with?
Well, Cody Gakpo is looking really, really good right now.
Yeah.
And it seems almost certain he'll start both matches. Plus, his underlying stats are great, and you're getting him at a great price.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It seems like he's involved in everything for them right now, creating chances, scoring goals. What about defensively?
I mean, Virgil van Dijk is just a rock at the back, almost guaranteed to play the full 90 in both matches. You know, he might not be the most exciting pick, but he gets you points, bonus points, clean sheets, the whole package.
You set him and forget him, right?
Yeah.
Now, what about Trent Alexander-Arnold? I mean, he's got such huge potential going forward, but will he play both matches?
Trent's always tempting, especially in a double game week. He could get you so many points with assists and goals.
Yeah.
But there's always that chance of rotation. And Van Dijk's a bit cheaper, too, if you're worried about your budget.
That's true. You always got to keep that in mind. What about Konate? It seems like he's been getting more minutes recently.
Oh, yeah. He's a great value pick. And he should feature in both matches. Only problem is he can be injury-prone.
So a bit of a risky option. Okay, so for Liverpool, we've got Salah as the possible triple captain, Gakpo looking really solid, and then you've got to decide between Van Dijk and Trent. Maybe even a little Konate if you like to live on the edge. So that's Liverpool. Now let's talk about Everton. What are they looking like?
Well, the big news for them is that Dominic Calvert-Lewin is out injured. That really hurts their attack.
Yeah, that's a huge blow to them. And to any fantasy managers hoping for big points from him. So without him, who steps up? Is there anyone worth considering in their attack?
Most likely, it'll be Neil Maupay leading the line. But let's be real, he hasn't exactly lit the world on fire this season.
So not super exciting there.
Yeah.
What about their defense?
Well, Jordan Pickford could be interesting. He can make a ton of saves, which means fantasy points, especially against a team like Liverpool.
Ah, I see what you mean. Saves mean points. And Pickford's bound to be busy. Plus, Leicester aren't exactly known for their attacking prowess. So Pickford's a bit of a differential pick, but he could be a good one. All right, so we've gone over the individual players for Liverpool and Everton. Let's take a step back and think about strategy for the double game week as a whole. I think a lot of people are wondering, should they use their assistant manager chip this week?
I mean, it's definitely tempting with 2 teams having a double game week. But yeah, you're stuck with just 3 players from that team all week. So you have to be super sure about your picks.
Yeah, it's all about balancing that risk and reward, right? Getting those double game week points, but not ruining your whole team for the rest of the week. So let's talk about the assistant manager chip. Obviously, there's Arne Slot at Liverpool, but you mentioned something interesting before, using it on David Moyes, even though West Ham doesn't have a double game week.
Right, so here's why that could be a good move. West Ham plays Leicester at home, and Leicester's defense has been pretty awful.
So even without a double game week, West Ham could get a lot of goals. So that makes Moyes a good assistant manager target.
Exactly. It's a bit risky. But if West Ham scores like we think they will,
Yeah.
you'll be in a great spot.
Yeah, it's like you're betting against everyone else, hoping Moyes can pull off a couple of upsets.
Pretty much.
Okay, so let's say you don't use your chips. I think a lot of people listening are trying to figure out which 3 Liverpool players to go with. Who would you pick and why?
Okay, so if I can only pick 3, I'm going Salah, Gakpo, and Van Dijk.
No big surprises there, but walk me through your reasoning.
All right, so Salah is just Salah. He's the main man in that attack. He might not play both games fully, but his potential is too good to pass up. You basically have to have him for a double game week.
Makes sense. What about Gakpo? Why him?
Well, he's a great value pick right now. He's playing well, almost certainly starting both matches, and his price is really good. He's also less likely to get rested than Salah.
So you're going for consistency and points potential there. And then Van Dijk at the back. Why him over Trent?
I'm going for safety with that one. You know Van Dijk's going to play the full 90 in both games. Trent could get you more points, but there's a chance he gets rotated. And clean sheets are super important in double game weeks.
You need those defensive points to build a good score. Okay, so we've got our 3 Liverpool guys locked in. Now, Everton's a bit trickier without Calvert-Lewin. Is there anyone, and I mean anyone, you'd recommend getting in for the double game week?
It's tough. But if I had to pick someone, it'd be Jordan Pickford. Especially if you're looking for a differential pick at keeper.
Pickford. Explain that one to me.
So think of it like this. Even if Everton loses both games, Pickford's going to face a ton of shots, especially against Liverpool. Even Leicester can create chances, so he can get you a lot of save points, even if he doesn't get any clean sheets.
So even if Everton has a bad week, Pickford could still do well.
Exactly. Plus, you never know. They could surprise us and get a draw or even a win.
Okay, yeah, I see what you mean. It's a gamble, but it could pay off big. So Pickford's our wild card pick. All right, moving on from the double game week teams. You mentioned Philip Billing before. He's been playing great for Bournemouth, but they've got Liverpool this week.
Yeah, Billing's tough. He's scoring a lot lately, and his underlying stats are fantastic. But that Liverpool match is scary.
So maybe avoid him for now.
Unless you're really going for it. If you want safer picks, maybe wait until they have an easier game.
All right, what about Arsenal's defense? They've got Man City this week, but their fixtures after that look really good.
Yeah, Arsenal's defense is still one of the best, even with that tough City match.
So hold on to those Arsenal defenders.
I think so.
One bad week isn't the end of the world. Okay, last thing. You mentioned those Brentford attackers, Ioane Wissa and Brian Mbeumo. What makes them good picks?
Both are playing well, and Brentford have some nice fixtures coming up. Mbeumo especially has been great this season.
Oh, yeah, I've seen him play. He's all over the pitch.
Yeah, he can score and create goals.
Sounds like a great fantasy option. So we like Mbeumo, and Wissa's a good alternative. Okay, we've covered a lot here. Can we summarize the key points for everyone?
Sure. First off, don't be afraid to look beyond the obvious picks. Double game week players are great. But there are other good options too.
So don't limit yourself.
Exactly. And second, be smart about your chips. Don't use them just because you have them. Make sure it makes sense for your team and your strategy.
Think long term.
And lastly, remember that form and fixtures are important, but so is your gut feeling. If you think a player is going to do well, don't be afraid to trust your instincts.
I like that. Sometimes you got to go with your gut. All right, everyone, that was a lot of info. Hopefully you're feeling more confident about GW24. We'll be back in a bit to wrap things up, and we'll leave you with something to think about as you make your final decisions for the week. Okay, we're back, ready to finish up our deep dive on Double Game Week 24. We've talked about the players, we've talked about the chips. Now we want to give you that little extra something to help you win your fantasy league. You know, we focused a lot on the big names, the players everyone's talking about. But sometimes the real difference maker is that under-the-radar pick, the guy no one else is thinking about. I love that. It's like finding a hidden gem.
Exactly.
So how do you find these hidden gems?
Got to look past the obvious stuff, dig a little deeper. Maybe it's a player coming back from injury, someone who's starting to find their form again, or a young player getting more minutes.
Yeah, someone who's flying under the radar.
Right. And don't be afraid to go against the crowd. Just because everyone else is picking a certain player doesn't mean they're the best option.
So trust your gut. Okay, so as you're finalizing your team for GW24, ask yourself, Is there a player out there, someone I haven't even considered, who could really make a difference?
Maybe you've noticed a midfielder quietly racking up assists, or a defender with great fixtures coming up. Really take a look at your team and see if you can find that hidden gem.
That's the challenge for everyone listening. Find that player no one else is thinking about. All right, everyone, that's all the time we have for today. Hopefully, you're feeling ready to tackle Double Game Week 24. Thanks for joining us for the Dip Dive. Good luck. May your arrows be green and your captains score big.